the audience. It bears repeating, it's important. So I am here today with the mayor, Mike Jones.
How you guys doing? Yeah.
I am here with Maria Lizardo from the Northern Manhattan Improvement Corporation.
Thank you, thank you.
And I am here with Led Black from the Uptown Collective. And welcome to This Is Your Spotlight Live. This is the first time in 2 years I'm able to do this show live and in person.
We outside.
We outside. So I'd like to say thank you to everybody here, everybody present. Thank you for joining me. This, God willing, will be available on the YouTube channel, The Roman Epic Productions on YouTube. So this is season 3, episode 1. And today is Dominican Pride episode. So it's just super. So for those of you who may not know, but I'm sure if anybody has watched the show, my parents are, were born in Dominican Republic. They came over here, and here I am 40 years later. And I kind of, always had an affinity with the Dominican community. It's been interesting because, we have our own language. People are like, nah, you ain't got your own language. No, trust me. There's 31 provinces on the island, and there's only 3 cardinal directions. Trust me, everybody got their own way of saying everything. And you just try to keep up, and you're like, I need a drink. You might sign better after the drink, maybe. So Maria's representing part of the Dominican Day Parade that is on 6th Avenue every second Sunday in August. I've been to the parade. I've seen you on the float. I say hi de lejos. And we also have Led, and we also have Mike representing the community aspect. So we're going to start with, of course, the question. It is a Dominican episode. Yeah, we got to ask. What part of the Dominican Republic is you or your family from?
My family, we all are from the capital, Santo Domingo, la capital, just to say it in Spanish, de Villa Francisca, kilómetro 7.5, Carretera Sánchez. I could keep going and going and going. But I'm from the capital.
And we are from El Cibao, de Moca. Moca. Even though I was born here, I lived out there for a few years in la calle Mella, número 21, en Moca.
Hey!
Yeah, so my parents are from Cibao. My mother's from Esperanza. Mm-hmm. But, I was born here, but at 3 months they sent me to DR, and I lived in Villa Juana until I was 5 when I came back.
Wow.
Yeah. Villa Juana is official. For real.
I will tell you, for me, my parents are from Santiago. My mom is from Santiago, de Polo Nuevo. And my father's from Tenares, La Amapola City. I've never been to La Amapola. They're like, you have to go. I'm like, see,
What's La Amapola? That sounds dirty.
It does.
Yeah, let's go to La Amapola. You're like, what?
I'm just like...
That sounds like a curse word.
No, it does. It's like, is it coffee over there? Is it what y'all got over there?
Amapola.
From Harlem, right? That isn't code for what I think it is it? La vergüenza. Terrible. I love you, Daddy. Love you too, Mom.
Football team for the past 23 years called Dominican Power.
Yes.
We play in Dyckman basketball, right in Dyckman courts, where Kareem Abdul-Jabbar grew up at. And how can I put it? We've been in the community for the past, like I said, this summer's going to be 23 years, 22 years, and I have a couple of NBA guys, overseas players, and we're like, ¿cómo se dice? Un asopao of just joy and just, all in all, it's all about sports and education. I was born and raised in Dyckman. I played under Kenny Stevens. which is the commission of Dyckman basketball. And he set the blueprint as to be a leader, not a follower. And
That's right.
you could say I gravitated and I grabbed it and I set my own blueprint with our brand. And here we are. I ain't stopping the wheels fall off, I'll tell you that much.
That's right. And Maria.
So, my day job, I'm the executive director at NMIC, and we're a community-based organization that for the last 44 years have been providing services in the community, Washington Heights and Inwood, and in the Bronx. I'm a social worker. I'm a product of Hamilton Heights and Washington Heights, but I'm also on the National Dominican Day Parade, and with that, we really use the parade to elevate and show everything that is beautiful about being Dominican, highlighting our culture, our music, our food, people who are doing amazing.
And before I even talk about myself, I want to say that I'm super proud to be sitting next to these two giants, right? These two people are giants, right? Mike, and like again, I think sometimes when people talk about themselves, they don't. I'm not trying to dip Mike, but because you think about like when I was coming up. I'm sorry I cursed, but when I was coming up,
we'll edit it out.
Dyckman basketball wasn't Dyckman basketball. Rucker Park was Rucker Park. That was the basketball, street basketball mecca. What Mike and them did was change the game, right? They made Dyckman. Before you were talking about Dyckman, you were talking about Dyckman basketball. It's because of this man and Kenny. So let's hear from Mike Jones, right? That's my brother. And I don't think I know almost anybody that has the kind of respect that Mike has in the street and with. That's real. And I seen him put himself on the front lines time and time again. And that's not an easy thing to do with Dominicans. Let's be for real, right?
It's true.
Because you get shots, pop, 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 everyone's shooting at you, and Mike take those shots time and time again. And then this woman is another powerhouse, right? Because every day in, day out, she's working for our community, right? That's for both of them. Right. Perfect. I run the Uptown Collective. We've been around now since 2010. It began as a way of being an homage to this community that I grew up. I like to say that I'm not just from Washington Heights, I'm of Washington Heights. And the site was built as like homage to the neighborhood. And it's become this thing that's super important. And I'm really proud to, day in, day out, do the work, the heavy lifting of community. And the point was to document what's happening, but also to help shape it. And to be honest, I really feel right now is a crucial time in this neighborhood's history because I grew up during the crack era. It feels like we're at the beginning of the heroin era. And the stuff I see now, I've never seen it in the Heights. Because when I used to, back in the days, and Mike will tell you, crackheads, excuse my language, used to go to the parks to smoke. Now you see the heroin addicts do it right there on the A train on 181st in the morning. My kids are going to school. So that's what I'm saying. This is why this is important. Like, if we don't do it, no one's going to do it. Right, and this neighborhood is changing, and we have to help move it along the right way. So that's what it's about: coming together and power moves. Right. And last thing I want to say is that Dominicans are the biggest immigrant group in New York City. Yep. That has to mean something, right? Like Jay-Z said, men lie, women lie, numbers don't. Let's make these numbers count.
And going back to the crack ever, you know what's so crazy that. There was one. It went viral like a couple of years. I think maybe a year ago. It went viral with I think it was the 190 or 181st train station with the needles and the vials and the train track. Hear me out. I took my train right here in Dyckman, and I told myself I'm gonna get off to see if this is for real. And when I got off in 181st and I saw the zombies, and I'm walking, I went from going downtown. I seen the zombies. I looked. I waited for the train to pass by. I looked to the train tracks, and all I saw was the little orange and needles with blood and everything. And I said to myself, nah, this can't be serious. Yeah. This cannot be serious. So I said, all right, let me go over. Now I'm going to go back home. And me waiting for the train, also, I looked to the tracks, and I'm like, nah. And it's like Les said, this is all coming back. It's doing, instead of a 360, it's doing a 180. It's coming back all over again, but instead with the dope, not with the crack. Like, to me, I don't want to bash just in case the mayor sees this or whatever, but to me, they not really doing a good job with everything that's going on with society. Because to us to see that now, our generation, we grew up seeing that. Now we're seeing another generation. I call these the pandemic babies. Now they're seeing it. So what's gonna happen after the pandemic babies? What they gonna see next? Because there's too much crime, too much drugs in the streets, and we didn't see that when we were growing up. Like you said, everybody used to shoot in the park or on the roofs or behind the buildings. Now they right there in front of you shooting with no problem. And that's, to me, is disgusting. And you can't tell. You gotta protect yourself, because you can't tell that person that's shooting up, like, yo, get away from my building or get off my block, because you don't know if they're gonna chase you with that.
Basically.
You know?
But what we're also seeing is that our community members are being pushed out. And so in the 80s and 90s, when no one else wanted to live up here, we were up here. We grew up in the neighborhood. This is our home. And what we're seeing now is, as the neighborhood got clean and our parks were improved, we're being gentrified. Everyone else wants to come up here. There's easy access. You have the A, the 1, the buses. You can get around. You can jump into the Bronx right away. You can jump downtown quickly. And our community members who live through this is our home, are being pushed out. And so what do we do about that? How do we make sure that we preserve the Dominicans that want to stay here and continue living here, and that they have high quality housing? That's important. And so we're seeing that shift too. And so we're seeing an increase in drugs, an increase in crime, but we're also seeing that our community members, a decrease in the number of Dominicans that are living in Uptown and Washington Heights and Inwood.
No, like, to piggyback off what you said, I actually took the train with my son on 168, and somebody was dead-ass shooting up. Yep. They went all the way to the end of the train, and they were shooting up. And I had to explain to him, like, he's like, what's going on? I said, and then they were so out of their mind, they almost dropped their needle on the seat. And I was like, no te siente ahí. So something has to be done. Gentrification has, like, killed a lot of the character, has killed a lot of the sense of community. That's why everybody's so separate. Everybody está por su lado.
But with the gentrification stuff, I feel like me and the politicians from Washington Heights, and you know, me and you know who they are. There's only a certain few that I mess with, and then there's certain that I don't. Why I say it like this? Because I feel like they are the puppets to the upper class people, right? And being that I say that they the puppets is because they're the ones that's trying to push us out. Being that if you're homegrown, how can you take the bag and see that your mom and dad and your tia lived here all their life, but you want to end up pushing them out because you're taking the money? And at the end of the day, here goes your tia and your mom and dad back to the motherland, and they want to come back, but they don't got nothing to come back to.
Pa que sepa. All right, so the last question for this part of the panel.
Last question? What do you mean?
Last question.
I want to keep talking. Like, what are you talking about?
Started talking.
I know, this is fire. This got good.
Minutes long.
Espérese, freno.
Tú sí que habla.
Y'all wake up talking. I don't stop talking the whole day. For real. I drive everyone in my house crazy, yo.
See, he just started. He ain't stopped.
For real, I ain't playing. Yo. We outside too? Forget it, yo.
Estilo político. Te dice todo más.
And especially if it's a panel.
Yo, seriously, yo.
Oh my gosh. So what do you hope with your contribution will be your legacy?
Ladies first.
What I want, my mom taught us that we had a responsibility to leave the world better than how we came into it. So
Yes.
what I want to leave as my legacy is that whatever work I've done, whether it is at NMIC or as when I volunteer or as part of the parade or other boards, that I leave this world just a little bit better than how I came into it. And I know we face a lot of challenges, mucha vaina siempre pasando, but we all have that responsibility to do our best, to be a good person, and to leave this world better than how we came into it, so our kids can thrive more than what we did.
Facts.
I like that. As for me, my legacy that I would like to be remembered as a leader, not a follower, led by example, and to show the next generation that You don't have to sell drugs. You don't have to be in the corner. You don't have to be looking cool. You could work a 9 to 5 and still be cool and still push yourself to the limit that there is no limit.
Facts.
And like I always tell my kids this in school, if you're chasing your dreams and your dreams are big and somebody tells you that you're dreaming, that your dreams are too small, that's a small-minded person. Can't let nobody tell you no different in life. Just keep fighting, keep chasing it, and believe me, you will succeed in life in whatever you do in life.
Okay, so back in the day, right?
Let's go, lad. Let's go, lad. No, wait, I can't. I'm the host. I can't get up.
Busca la almohada.
Look, when I was a kid, right, my mom used to be the numbers lady, right, for a good chunk of the Heights, right? So people would come to my mom's crib back in the days, and they would play with numbers with her. And it was, she would make mondongo, right? And everybody would come to the crib and play numbers with her. But the point was that she was recreating DR for these poor Dominican people, right? Like, so she had created a service. So a good chunk of the hood would come to my mom's crib on Sundays and play the Dominican numbers, right? And so and it was a way of recreating DR. And I feel like what I've done with the Uptown Collective is the same thing, right? It's creating community for us. It's creating a sense of purpose. It's uniting us in a lot of ways. Like, I grew up in this hood, and Mike could tell you, like, I grew up in 182nd and Wadsworth. I never went to Dyckman. And I never went to past 181st, because if I did, his people would fuck me up, right? Or if I went down the other way, it would be the same way, because we self-segregated when we was kids. We were all Dominican, but we all had beef.
That's true.
Unless you knew someone from Dyckman, you wasn't going to Dyckman. Unless you knew someone from the 170s, you wasn't going to 170s.
This is true.
I went to Hybrids a few times. I got my sneakers robbed, you know what I'm saying? I got jumped, you know what I'm saying? But that's what the point of it is. Like, I feel like now that we have a chance to really make our numbers mean something, right? Like, again, Dominicans mean something, right? Sometimes we forget, like, we go to DR, but DR in a lot of ways is one of the most advanced countries in Latin America.
Yes.
My brother's a traveler. I'm not really a traveler, but he's been to Colombia, Panama. DR is very advanced in a lot of ways, you know what
They
I'm
got Tony Romas, if you like ribs.
And again, in this city, this is the most important city on the planet, and we're the biggest immigrant group in the city. So that has to mean something. So that's my legacy, is making that mean something.
That's right.
And going back to lead, he's speaking facts, because it's true. Like, everybody will find it strange with me walking from the Heights all the way home and not get touched, and everybody would be like, yo, but how do you do it? I'm like, I don't have no beef with nobody. We to be honest with you, I would never understand that problem between the Heights and Dyckman. We all is one. We all Dominicans, and I would never understand that problem and that beef. And going back to that, remember when we did the Wins by Any Means, that first event that we did it's called Wins by Any Means. It was an event to showcase talent up in Washington Heights, and we held it in Negro Claro. We did a couple everywhere, but Negro Claro was like the biggest one that we ever did. And to hold Washington Heights and Dyckman underneath one roof with my generation and with this generation,
no beef,
and
no beef.
I cried. I had goosebumps. Led cried, everybody cried, because we come from a different generation compared to this generation. And I've noticed it throughout the years that this generation does not have, I'm not trying to diss them or anything, but this generation does not have no morals, no respect, and no structure. And why they don't have that? Because they don't have what we had when we were growing up. And we had leaders, and we had, people to look up to, regardless that it was Fulanito de Tal chilling in the corner with the brand new BMW with the BBSs, the chain, the flyest girl. We had somebody to look up to. Now this generation is like, what is there to? They call us dinosaurs.
No, yeah, you know how insulting is that?
No, but he's right though. But like, one thing exactly, like when we were growing up, like I used to look up to the drug dealers, and they were drug dealers, and I really believe that selling drugs is horrible. I'm not going to legitimize that, but at least they held shit down, right?
Yes, they did.
The dudes that used to sell drugs ran the block well. So you wasn't getting robbed for silly stuff. This wasn't happening. They would buy turkeys on Thanksgiving. That don't happen no more, right? Like a lot of there's no leadership even there anymore. So it becomes like a free for all. And I'll give you an example. Like, so you think about December 9th, right? Last year, that man got killed in front of his daughter on Nagel, right? That happened December 9th, in front of his 10-year-old daughter at 4 o'clock, right? In the afternoon, December 26th. Right? A woman who was 64 years old, who was taking care of her 100-year-old grandmother, got shot at 11:30 in the morning, the day after Christmas.
In front of the GNC.
January 2nd, right? There was the thing that happened at Inwood Bar and Grill. Remember when the bar, so the guy took off, caused a car crash that went into Inwood Bar and Grill. There's a little girl that was 10 years old. She might have to get her leg amputated. You know what I'm saying? That week, I was driving. I said, yo, I'm going to skip. I was going to Lina, which is my favorite Dominican restaurant, on 207th, right off of Nagel, right? Yep. Between Post and Nagel. So I said, I'm going to go there, but I'm going to skip the whole Dyckman area. I don't want beef. You know, I'm driving. So I went to Seaman Avenue. Seaman is quiet, right? Mm-hmm. You know, it's like, so I'm walking. I was on Seaman.
Sorry to cut you off. Seaman is, to us, Seaman is like Hollywood.
Yeah, it's the woods, right? So I turned on Seaman on Dyckman, right? 4 o'clock in the afternoon. I see two young dudes on a bike with masks, right? And they doing back and forth. I'm like, yo, la vaina conmigo. Like, they trying to rob me in my car? So I'm like watching. Yo, all of a sudden, the dude on the bike, and you could tell they were young because they were tall, but they were light in the ass. You know, they were like, you could tell they were young. And he came around behind my car, and he just grabbed some dude with just a guy walking. And they grabbed him, they snatched his bag, and they took off. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I'm saying. That's why this is important. Like, if we don't really recognize what's happening right now, we're going to lose it all. Because the gentrification, the drugs, everything points to one direction, and it's the elimination of us. So that's why it's super important that we stay on the ball, that we don't play. Politicians, I'm of the belief that the politicians have to be our partners, and we have to hold them accountable. Because if not, they're gonna go to the highest bidder. And to be honest, I'm very proud to have someone like Carmen de la Rosa, because I think she's a really good council member. Like I really think that she's about the people, and I think that we have to have leadership like that as well. So you need leaders. You need leaders at every level. And you don't need a title to be a leader. Like, we all could lead. My mother used to be the numbers lady, but she was a leader. You know what I'm saying?
You can't forget about Manny. Manny's another one that's a leader. Like, those, to me, I think Carmen and Manny, they represent us well. Because they all about us.
They're not here though, but they represent us.
They represent us real well. Sorry. And it's like Les says, we're setting the blueprint. Like, if it wasn't for Les Page, the Uptown Collective, nobody would really know what's going on in Uptown. Can't forget about Dyckman Diary. That's another good page that shows everything about what's going on in the community. If it wasn't for them 2 pages, everybody would be lost. That's right. And everybody thinks that we're what? Loving hip hop? Yeah. No, we're not. This is where the sazon is at. Everybody wants to come to us, and you got to face it. But we got to change the narrative of them thinking that it's all right to come and gentrify us and push us out.
We have to do our part, and that goes, you know, I mean, you mentioned Council Member de la Rosa and Assembly Member de Los Santos. We have the numbers, and so we have to come out and vote. A lot of times we're so worried, we live here, right, but we're so worried about what's happening in Moca that we forget to go out and vote. And guess what? The same way we vote them in, we can vote them out and make sure that we have people who are representative of the values and the things that are important to us as a community. So we have to roll up our sleeves too. If we don't see leadership, then one of us has to step in and be a leader. And that takes a lot of cojones y ovarios, but we got to do that, because that's the only way that we're going to be able to save our community, to keep our community together, to keep the fiber, to keep that sazon. Sometimes when I walk around the neighborhood, it hurts me that I see so many empty storefronts, so many businesses gone. You know, mom and pop shops that were here for decades.
It looks like a cemetery, really.
Exactly. To see some of our kids, instead of being in school, they're on the street corner instead of an after-school program. But guess what? We got to make noise. We're the #1 immigrant group in New York City. Where are we in the leadership in New York City? Where are we in the leadership in New York State? And so we need to roll up our sleeves and stop standing on the sidelines complaining and do something about it. Go out and vote. Join your community board. Be a part of the nonprofits in the neighborhood. be a part of something, because we're going to lose our community if we don't step up and do something.
No, it's true. And thank you very much. Woo! All right. So thank you very much to Maria, thank you Mike, and thank you Led for joining me for this portion of the episode. And now we're gonna have music and podcasts. So let's have a round of applause for our panel here. Okay. So welcome to part 2. We just did the first part of this episode was with community representation and parades. And now we're going to go on to music and podcasts. And yeah, he was part of...
Oh, music. Oh, we're using government names. All right.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I can make out warrants.
AKA Cryptic Conga, just in case. That's his Instagram handle. He was my season 1, episode 12. He talked about the Gender Blender podcast. And the second person next to him is Manny Sosa, and he is also part of the Gender Blender podcast, and he sings beautifully.
Why, thank you very much.
Yes, he does. And of course, we have from 2 great podcasts. So she was part of my season 2, episode 5. We talked about Pride and Mental Health, Ms. Marcy. From the Comadrando podcast, give it up. And of course, from the Men on podcast, Men on Pause.
Love that name.
I love that name.
Really
Thank you.
Very catchy.
Let's see. He's done acting, he's done skit work, and he's even a concierge too, but we're not going to talk about that. Hey, I'm a security guard.
You won't give my social security too? What the hell? ¿Qué pasó? She's like, is your abuela name?
Y esa falta de
Julieta?
respeto.
I'm like, yo, what? No, guy.
Y esa falta de respeto. ¿Y qué yo te hice? ¿Qué te debo?
Yeah.
So, Mr. Jerry Diaz.
Thank you.
And also, he was the lead in my short film called Graduation Day.
Yes.
Yes. He did a great job. There were times, it was a hot day, and I'm telling you, Jerry was the biggest trooper ever. Because at one point, he was dressed in gray, and he's like, yeah, how many takes are we doing right now?
She had me in a 3-piece suit, black suit, hottest day, picks the block with no shade. I got you. Is there water? She's like, no. She wanted like the drama from me, you know. I was suffering. She got it.
Hey, we were by Marcy's school, so then
Yeah.
you're the one that recommended, hey, go to this school right here. I'm like, the front or the back. And once we saw the janitor looking at us like,
¿Qué es lo que está pasando?
¿Qué están haciendo? We're recording a movie, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Please don't call nobody. It's handheld, I promise. All right, so a big round of applause for my panel here right now. Thank you so much. All right, so we're going to start con lo sencillo. What part of DR is you or your family from? Anybody?
Santiago.
Woo!
Santiago.
Santiago City.
My father is from a campo called Laguna Prieta.
No, mentira.
And my mother is from Licea en Medio. Yeah.
All right.
Hima Arriba La Vega. I was born there. It's a very small campo between Cotuí and the city of La Vega.
Did you sneeze? Bless you. Oh, you said Cotuí. Oh, sorry.
My family, my mother is from the capital, from a street called La Luisa de Castillo.
Ay, tú.
Sounds fancy.
Yeah, it wasn't. From what I hear, it's like Compton.
Oh.
There was
no.
nothing fancy about that place. But en los tiempos de Trujillo, tú me entiendes, estaba limpiecito.
Okay.
We're not trying to give nobody flashbacks, just in case.
No,
Please.
estaba tranquilito. And then my father was from Los Minas.
Los Minas.
So we liceístas, so.
My family is from San Francisco Macorís. I came here when I was 2 months old because My father wanted me to be born in the R, right? My mother was pregnant with me here, went to the R, so one day I could become president of the Dominican Republic. That turned out, my dad really thought that out really well. It turned out really well for him, but yeah. You could drop me in front of my house in DR and I'll get lost. I don't know anything.
Listen, if it didn't work for Amalfi Trujillo, I don't think it's gonna work for everybody else. I'm sorry, it's not. I wish it would, but it won't. All right, so I talked a little bit about what the panel does. Now I'm gonna let you guys explain it for yourselves. So what do you do in the community, or like what do you contribute to the community?
That women could do anything just as good or even better than men sometimes, you know. So my podcast is generally originally started as two men and two women just sharing their thoughts on everything, whether it's relationships, sports, dating, you name it.
Manny's mad.
And Manny's mad. That's another segment. Yeah, it's pretty.
I left out, I'm sorry.
So, but it's really centered, it's really centered on, women doing everything that a man can do. For example, one of our highest rated episode was a female firefighter. Shout out to Jen. Not only is she one of like 53 female firefighters in the city, she's the only female fire marshal. Mind you, the only female fire marshal in the entire New York City. So that's a big feat if you really think about it. Pretty much a fire marshal is like what a detective would be for the NYPD. They'll figure out how the fire started, who started, this, that, and the other. We've had male nurses, we've had transgender women on the show, you know, to bring awareness. We've had female wrestlers, female police, anything that you would think it's a gender role. Like you wouldn't think of a nurse. When I say nurse, what do you think? Oh, a woman, right? No, believe it or not, there's just as many male nurses out there. You know, so that's basically what we try to bring awareness.
I work with Filipinos. I know there's Filipinos.
Yeah, so,
nurses, sadly, sorry.
But yeah, that's what I like to bring on my podcast. And again, men and women talking about something and having different ideas about what you're seeing. If we talk about baseball, the men will talk about stats. Women also know about stats, but some women will think other stuff. Oh, the uniform looks nice, or you know, we'll nitpick about everything. Yeah.
Single.
That's it's just the way the mind. It's just the way the mind works. So yeah. That's where.
And should I go to the bleachers and make sure, do a projectile of La Tanga?
Yeah.
And hopefully
again,
he gets
don't get me wrong. Women are just as smart when it comes to sports. That's not what I'm trying to get. It's just when it comes to the specific topic, I'm pretty sure there'll be something that'll be debated amongst the sexes.
That was my mother's idea, okay? She was like, my mother.
Your mother flings tangas?
No. No, she told me one time. This is an old story really quick. Her friend was in love with Keith Hernandez. And she went with her to the stadium, and she goes, Vicky, I know you're in love with Keith Hernandez. Do yourself a solid. Buy a fresh, clean pair of panties. Write your phone number, and just aim for him, and he'll get it. And he did. He that ass went. Oh.
Did he call?
Damn, Keith Hernandez es sucio.
He did.
Keith Hernandez es un sucio. I was a fan, but es un sucio.
Wowzers.
No,
Wow.
they were clean. They were clean.
No, but he's a sucio. Not talking about No, no la doña. No, la doña está bien.
No, but the fact that he dead
She
just
shoot
put it
her
in
shot.
his pocket, I'm like, yeah, thank God I wasn't alive during that time, Mom. That sounds like a lot of work.
That's called commitment. That's what's up. Like she wanted that call. Like she really wanted it.
No, sincerely.
Talk about shooting your shot.
More like flinging your shot.
No, sincerely. So, yeah, that was, and my mother was telling me to do that. I looked like, no, I'm 14. Derek Jeter's 22. Ain't happening. He'd probably be like.
You see, that's only something a woman could do, because if a guy would fling in his underwear.
It's not gonna work.
I like you. What? ¿Qué es esto?
Security.
I don't want these Fruit of the Looms.
These Hanes, todo sucio, ¿qué es esto?
Yeah, get out of here.
Are they all lopsided?
Yeah.
Con hoyos.
And a track mark. And a track mark. You know that.
And
Skid
the
mark on it.
imperfect ones you get in the corner store, that's just imperfect Hanes. That's what I'll be throwing.
One's longer than the other.
Yeah,
Yeah, you
$5, bro, for like a 6-pack. You know the vibe.
The band is wasted.
You
Damn.
go to a Mundo, you get like 10 for like 25 cents.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, the mundo's further up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, back to the topic at
Sorry.
hand, please. Okay, so, Manny, ¿di algo?
Más de lo que yo he dicho.
No, no. He did his intro.
No. I got you.
Okay.
Well, like what to piggyback what he was saying, I'm a part of the Gender Blender podcast as well, and not only that, but I do music. I have a band. Well, we have a band called M Sosa and Bachata Flow, which is pretty much like a dream come true. We started
2019.
2019.
As a joke.
As a joke, this was a joke. This was something that came up randomly on the show, because they knew before that I have 15 years that I haven't touched the stage. I've traveled to countries, Boys to Men. I've done things with them and stuff, but I basically went to the side and I just let it go. And it was 15 years. And he was on the podcast. He was like, you should.
The world, it was 2020. We're like, the world's opening up. Like,
Yeah.
The idea was in 20. The idea was in 2019. We actually focused in 2020. The pandemic hit. Then everything started opening up. That's when we started getting serious about it.
Yeah, he was like, I want to get you back into the music game. I was like, oh, okay, try.
It's like, thank you.
Hey, listen, the thing is about me, I have to see it to believe it. You know, when you're a musician and when you're a podcast, a bunch of people come up to you, oh, hey, I'm going to offer you this. And you're already thinking, okay, I'm excited, but it never happens.
Exactly.
You know, so I just took it as a joke. 2 weeks later, I see my name in a chat. I was like, who is this and why are you putting me into this chat? Oh, no, these are your musicians. We have rehearsal in 2 weeks. I was like, have you lost your ever-loving mind? What are you talking about? And sure enough, you know, as time went on, we evolved. A lot of people have come and gone, and the crew that we have, which, by the way, we have one of our members here in the back, which is our music leader, Renee. Our bass player. Give him a round of applause. I call him Mr. Papi Champu. Yeah.
Well, somebody's got to be it. I don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
Sorry, Renee.
So, I mean, we've been doing music all this time. We've participated in a lot of events, and we tend to try to innovate, try to keep ourselves fresh with music that people want to hear. We even took it back to when Nereida was popping and nobody knew who that was.
Oh, my goodness.
So, you know, back in those times, so that's what we're trying to do as far as musically.
Shameless plug. Look them up on YouTube, all the social media channels.
Yes, absolutely.
They're there. You in for some good music.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, Marcy.
And my show is Comadreando Podcast.
Yes.
The purpose of the show is to create community and provide resources to parents of children with special needs. I'm a So I'm a 9-year special education teacher and also a mom to an autistic boy that's 14 years old. So basically, my purpose is to create community and help other parents, because once you get a diagnosis for your child, it is a very isolating incident. Yes. So what I want to do is create that community that I wish I had when I had my son diagnosed, because a lot of the time, you get a diagnosis, but your family, you don't really have anybody in your family that can relate or help you or understand where you're coming from. So it's basically like it's like comadreando, you know, spending time with your homegirls or homeboys and having discussions and talking about topics that you don't really feel comfortable talking about with your family members that don't have a child with special needs.
Es verdad. Go ahead, Jerry.
Damn, what an intro.
Take it away.
Just talk, bro.
Yeah, no, my podcast is the Menopause Podcast. Of course, is the play on the word menopause, but it's really, you know, on the surface, it's guys, two old guys stuck in the 90s, trying to make sense. Like you heard the prior panel how they were talking about the younger generation and just. It's us trying to make sense of it and trying to bring that connection. But also below the surface is also, you know, guys are, you know, the past few years, men in general, you know, were not looked at in a positive light. And there's a lot of restructuring and a lot of regrowth. And on the underlying surface, yeah, it's us breaking a lot of the old traditions and a lot of the old things that men of our age or generations before were taught. So it's breaking those traditions, you know, like what it means to raise kids now, what it means to be a single dad, what it means to, and it's not, and I'm not just trying to make it a guy thing, because it's stuff that we try to make it general for everybody. But we can only speak from our perspective. But really, you know, car ride, train ride home, it's a half-hour show. We talk about movies, we talk about everything. We just make fun of life, because I feel like there's enough content out there to scare you and tell you how bad things are and all that other stuff. I rather, you know, that's part of what I bring to the community. I bring laughter, I bring joy. I've been doing comedy for, 20-something years now. Been part of, comedy troupes that I've been pushing the Dominican community, putting us in places that we don't belong. I've been in LA, I've been in the NBC buildings, I've been in all those places talking, representing us when they didn't even, when I got to LA, I go up to a group. Like they didn't know, like they don't know Dominicans over there. Like we had a reunion of Dominican, like Sasha Mercy, all these people that were out there, we had a reunion because there's only like 5 of us, out there doing anything. And, when you see that, it's like, all right, for me, it's not about, I'm not going around scolding people. I'm not going around telling people. I'm about action. So I'm going to just do. And hopefully, I'm going to leave that door open. Anybody that needs my help, I'm going to be there for them. I'll make myself completely available. And nothing's ever too big and nothing's ever too small. And if I feel like it contributes to the advancement of our community, that's what I'm going to do. Yeah, that's it.
Okay, like I did to the previous panel, we're going to have a little trivia before we get to the last question. Okay, this is a good one. This is a very common one. Okay, wait, here we go. Even worse.
David Papi Ortiz.
No.
Jimmy Joey.
No. Who was the first Dominican musician?
Fefita.
That's the answer.
Fefita.
I don't care what your answer is. That's the right answer.
Fefita.
That's the right answer.
Whatever answer you have, cross that out and put
Fefita. That's it.
For real.
Okay.
What's your fake answer?
Okay, my fake answer is, according to Google, yes, I did Google trivia. Gabriel de Orbe. He was a violinist in 1907.
See, Fefita was 1507, so...
She was 16. Fefita was a teenager.
Yeah. She taught him how to play.
Yeah, she had like 15 years in the game already.
Serious?
Cuando Colón llegó ya Fefita.
Ay, güey, la pobre Fefa.
You're like, Fefita, get out the way?
Ay, la jefa Fefa, pobre.
Fefita played at Jesus Communion.
Ella era María Magdalena, la producción de la iglesia. No le diga tierra. Okay. Question number 2. And this is for a t-shirt. Here we go. Who was the first Dominican singer/vocalist?
Fefita.
¿Usted quiere que Fefa me picotee?
Solamente con esa respuesta, dale la camisa.
Ya, que está frío afuera, dale la camisa.
Oye, está ártico allá afuera, dásela.
La respuesta es Antonio Mesa. En el 1915. ¿Eso le puso Fefita?
No.
Yeah, he would have been done by 2015 though. He would have been 100. Ya tuviera muerto en 2015. Okay, of course. And más sencillo. Who is the current #1 Dominican artist?
Romeo Santos.
No.
Tatisha.
No.
Yo, it's sad too. It's probably Dominican?
Yes.
Juan Díaz.
The current #1 Dominican artist.
Fernando Villalona.
He has won. Juan Díaz.
Oh, yeah.
I just said it.
Oh, who said it? Oh, she gets it.
You can pay them to take my credit first.
a lot of people think that New York State is the highest state with the percentage, and the Dominican are the largest Latino group. Guess what state is the
Pennsylvania.
Massachusetts.
No, mentira, is it Rhode Island?
Rhode Island, number 1.
Rhode Island.
And then Eastern Massachusetts.
Oh, mi tío dice Rhode Island. El tío me dice que es Rhode Island.
Rhode Island. Okay, so New York State has 47% that live in New York State are Dominican, and 41% of those live in New York State.
But to be fair, Rhode Island is like 5 people. So if you got 3 out of 5, that's 60%. I'm just saying.
It's just those 3 houses.
Right.
And there's cul-de-sacs. So
there's 10 houses here, 3 in Dominican. Oh, 30%. Wow.
All right. Last question of the panel. So before we end tonight, I'd like to thank everybody. Gracias a todo el mundo por venir para acá. Thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. I hope to do more shows, and we want to grow this crowd. And shameless plug to everybody here. All right, last question. What do you hope your legacy will be with your contribution?
Well, I'm going to speak in general, band-wise, because we haven't touched much on the band-wise. Basically, music nowadays, you guys know where it already is. We're doing on YouTube. I see that shit. It's just that. Exactly. What is that? That's the perfect question for what I just did. What is that? Yeah, it's anyway.
We don't have a defibrillator on site, just in case. I think I remember CPR. Please don't do that.
So, obviously, we have the major bachata artists. We have, Prince Royce, Romeo Santos, Anthony Santos, Najibe at the top, right? But what we want to do is bring live music to the community, because that's how the idea came. Like we said, it started as a joke in 2019. We never spoke about it. 2020 hit, everything shut down, the podcast and everything. We came back to the podcast, and then things started opening up. And then that's when I remember the idea, and I revisited, and I was like, man, we should actually do the band. We did it. I'll try to keep this in under 3 minutes. It's such a short amount of time. We've done so much. Yes.
He's excited to be here. He likes to talk.
We've even opened up for Hermano Rosario, which was a big thing for our band. We got called to open up for the. Yes, we've been great. We've been blessed with a great team. Like we said, your sound guy back here, René, he's an amazing guy. But to finish off, our legacy basically is, yes, we would love to make it, like to win Grams at the end of the day. But if you could just come to one of our parties and have a good time and listen to really good music, whether it's our originals or a cover, because we do amazing covers. We've done covers of Eli Martinez, Raulín. We've been reposted by these artists. And that's Joe Averas, and these people are very meticulous about who sings their songs. So for us to get reposted by them speak volumes, because that's another thing. We need to support each other. It's not a competition. Yep. A lot of bands don't like to support each other. Like, my favorite band is not my band. I'll tell you that. It's not Obsessive Bachata. I love my band. But my favorite band in the Latino community is Afro Dominicano.
Yes, sir.
And I want to give them a shout out, because you know what they're doing? They're bringing our típico music to a different level. Then you have the típico. What is this? What is this? It's music. They're bringing our culture up there. Instead of doing this, they're doing real music out there. And that's what we want to do for our community. Have people reminisce que si manita cantando medicina de amor, to bring it to that time. Like, I remember when my mom was cleaning the salad for that. And that's what we want to bring to our community. It doesn't have to be Prince Royce. It doesn't have to be a $500 concert. We have a free concert, shameless plug. March 31st, if you live in Queens, Guantanamera, Queens, we have a free concert for everybody that myself and my girlfriend, shout out to my girlfriend and another investor in the band, we are making this a free show for everybody to come out. She's very shy. To come out and enjoy music. So that's what we want to live. We want to leave behind good music.
I mean, he said it all. He said it all. I just want to piggyback on what he said. There's something that he said that really touched me. Is the fact that we just want people to have a good time. We're living in very tough and hectic times ever since the pandemic. Everybody's wound up. Everybody's feeling a certain kind of way. And if you could just go to a place and you could just listen to music, tranquilamente, without any stress, and just have a good time. And hear songs that, like he said, takes you back to when your mom used to clean on Saturdays and stuff.
Danny Martinez on that sick. That was Danny Martinez. Can you give him a little bit of Danny Martinez?
Okay, do you guys want to hear a little bit of Alice Martinez?
Yeah.
I love how he just puts me on the spot like that. Anda, explícale a tus padres para que el noviazgo tenga solución. Dile que mi jean gastado y mi par de aretes son cosas de hoy. Dile que te amo como nadie te ama.
If I had panties, I'd fling them right now. If I had panties, I'd fling them. I would fling them.
Yeah, that's it. We don't want to hear the rest show up on the 31st.
Lady, put your panties away.
That actually might work. You never know. But that's what we want to leave. We want to leave that legacy that, you know, you can come just to have fun. You know, just to unwind and just have a good time.
Because life is too short. You never know.
Thanks, for real.
And the legacy I want to leave is that I want to continue to represent our culture in the schools. I feel like a lot of the time when I was growing up, there wasn't not enough teachers that looked like me. Actually, there were no teachers that looked like me.
This is true.
So I want to continue to break that image and show our kids that you don't have to be in the street. You don't have to be gangbanging. You can be an educated person, still rock your kicks, right? And represent your community in a positive light. And then as far as the podcast, what I want to leave behind is that I want to continue to break the stigma regarding special education in Black and brown communities. We grew up in an era, especially our generation, where special education wasn't really spoken about, and also we were hiding our special needs kids. So I want to be able to give our kids permission to take up space and to be themselves, and for our community to accept them the way that they are. They don't need to change, we need to change the way that we are and how we treat our children with special needs and adults with special needs as well.
And the closer, Jerry Diaz.
Pressure. No, I obviously, you look me up. That's my comedy stage name. I've been putting myself and representing for us and all. Like I've done parody music, I've done acting, I've done stand-up, I've done sketches. Like the latest thing that I'm doing now, which I just did a show in October, is I'm bringing comedy uptown to the Heights. So, and funny you say that because I did the show alongside Afloat Dominicano. Saint Sunday Show. Thank you. I almost forgot the name of my show. Saint Sunday Show, which look up, we're doing something in the spring. I don't have a date yet right now, but it's about bringing, instead of us having to go downtown and enjoying quality entertainment, I'm bringing the quality entertainment uptown, and not only that, smart stuff. It doesn't have to be about the chancletas and the goofy. We could do smart stuff. It doesn't have to be labeled Dominican to be a Dominican thing. Just be what you are. And I think that's the problem in the business, like when we get into the business of entertainment. You want to do it catering to an audience because, the Latino audience, forget about making it for the Latino, make it good.
That's right.
And everybody's gonna watch it. They don't care who's gonna be on it. And and for me, it's about letting kids that look like me know that they can do it on their own, right? Because even in Spanish television, there's not people that look like me on TV, right? And now we don't need to be held at gunpoint by networks and all that stuff. You can film with your phone now, and the audience will find you. So just trust in your taste, trust in what you do, have faith, don't be a jerk,
That's right.
In the business, don't be a jerk. But also realize, like, there is more than when you're doing something. It's not just you yourself. There's someone that's gonna look at that and either be inspired or be pushed or feel like, oh, even if they think you suck, you're inspired them to be like, yo, I can do better. Let me go on. Just do, but also trust in your taste and don't cater to nobody. You're not wrong. Just listen to your own self. So that's what I want to lead to people. Like, yo, just follow your instincts and don't let nobody else tell you what you can and can't do. Oh, there's a wall. They put a wall to build a door.
That's right.
Just do it.
So I would like to thank the second half of my panel who represented music and podcasts. Thank you to Cryptic Conga. Thank you to Manny Sosa. Thank you to Marcelo Comandando Podcast. Thank you to Jerry Diaz, the one and the only. One day he's gonna be EGOT and we're y'all gonna be like, oh wow, I was in the room when Jerry was here.
She can put a lot of pressure on you now. Thank you. Thank you. It's beautiful. Yes.
We can all make it.
Manifest.
I'm trying to be Latina Oprah. It's not working, but we're working on it. It's gonna happen somehow. Jersey Roman, and this is your Spotlight Live, Season 3, Episode 1, Dominican Pride. Thank you to my panel. Thank you to Led Black. Thank you to The Mayor. Thank you to Maria Lizardo. Thank you to Manny Sosa. Thank you to Cryptic Conga. Thank you to Marcy from the Comandando Podcast. Thank you to Jerry Diaz. And thank you everybody who is here for being part of my first ever episode live. And I thank you. And one more thing I have to say, what's on the Dominican flag. Dios, Patria y Libertad.